This podcast and the next 5, or the next 4 if you don't include this one, will include spoilers. It is me talking about a programme that I'm assuming you've seen. So if you've not seen it, don't listen to this.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to the Tin Dog Podcast. Recorded live in a garden. Welcome to the Tin Dog Podcast number 95A. You see, I'm going to try every day this week and produce one Tin Dog podcast about each episode of Torchwood as it's broadcast. At the end of the week, what I'll do is I'll combine all 5 episodes into one, number 95, and release that as the official number 95. But obviously, stories unfold, and I'd be reviewing 5 hours worth of TV in one go, which wouldn't exactly be fair. So here we go with The Children of Earth. Torchwood, Day 1, 8:41 a.m. Jack and Yanto are in the diary hub talking about relationships when all the children in the world suddenly stop. Before Torchwood came out, before this particular series of Torchwood came about, I was really enjoying Series 2. The 13-episode format was particularly nice, once a week, and I think you know where this is going. Because this series, this whole year, the year of the Doctor Who drought, has 1 week of Torchwood. It's not particularly bright, is it? In a year where you're trying to keep Doctor Who in people's consciousness, you put Torchwood out, Doctor Who's sister show, or should that be brother, and then, well, you cram every episode into 1 week. Now, admittedly, you've moved it over to BBC One, and BBC One, also known as the abusive home of science fiction. Every show that's ever been moved on to BBC One from other shows, like The X-Files, and you could probably name a handful of others, have all suffered because of scheduling. Look at the treatment the last few seasons of The X-Files got. Leave things alone. Leave them on BBC Two. We will find them. We will like them. We will watch them. And 5 episodes. Why would you make 5 episodes? Now, admittedly, it's all one story. And is this story big enough to justify a whole week's worth of viewing? A week where we're going to have to sit with our TV guides and work out which +1 channel we're going to be watching other things on. The summer is now a time to watch good TV. So let's talk about the episode itself before I start rambling. The Children of Earth had a feel of a certain Arthur C. Clarke novel, also unsurprisingly with children in the title. Childhood's End deals with every child on Earth suddenly joining forces and chanting as an alien presence appears in the sky. What happened in Childhood's End is that, well, I'd rather not spoil it for everyone, but let's face it, you've probably read it or at least heard the Radio 4 adaptation, and if you haven't, I would suggest tracking it down. I'm sorry about the traffic you can possibly hear in the background, but this is recorded in the garden. Because, let's face it, we'd all rather record a podcast than cut the grass. This story is set firmly after the 3 Torchwood audio plays which were on Radio 4 last week and which I will be reviewing in a big podcast next week. These 3 stories, plus the one that was on last year when the Large Hadron Collider was switched on, mark a definite change of cast between the first 2 seasons of TV Torchwood and this story. Now, before it began, I did set out to do some research. I knew that the aliens, 456, or whoever they happen to be, had attacked in 1965, which led me to think of the Great Intelligence, you know, Yeti and the like. But that was far too obvious. So I'm assuming that it's a brand new entity, because the idea of Torchwood taking on an old Doctor Who monster is a bit rubbish because, well, we know how to defeat those as an audience. So we're kind of watching them, waiting for them to figure out what we already know. And so I'm thinking that, well, it's a brand new creature. We have 55 minutes of action before us, and we're going to be dealing with selling Torchwood to possibly a brand new audience. And luckily, the script doesn't pander to that. It kind of accepts that you might already know what Torchwood is. As usual, it has some nice comedy moments, going across the Cardiff Bridge, worrying about injections, heading towards England, fairly humorous. I've done the journey myself both ways, and it's rather interesting to note that you only pay once in one direction. You know, they still owe me a £5, or at least one trip over that bridge. Let it go, let it go. In order to expand this whole 5-parter and give it more storylines and story arcs and give us more to deal with, RTD and his crew have fallen back on what they do best, which is make the extraordinary ordinary, with family and soap opera moments, by introducing Jack's family. You've never seen them, you've never heard of them, you've never even thought they existed. The only thing you've ever seen is a very, very old wedding photograph, I think in season 1. I'm assuming from the clips and reading things in between us that the 1965 original event actually had Jack Harkness there because there was a list of people to be killed who were possible witnesses. But episode 1 of a story like this has to present us with a small narrative arc and also keys and hints and mysteries that will be solved as time goes by. And here it's done perfectly. It's exactly what we were expecting, it's exactly what happens. It panders to what we think is going to happen. The new character, the Doctor, because Torchwood needs a Doctor, gets under our radar so easily that we're actually left surprised when what happens, as well as the nice twists involving the Doctor and the hitchhiker as well, because obviously you assume that might have been one of the things put into Jack for a few moments, because the obvious solution is the one that they end up going for. We also get a reset, because Torchwood is a powerful organisation. They have access to things and money that other groups just don't have, and as writers you needed to get rid of that. The car, with its triple deadlock sonic screwdriver proof doors, is stolen by a group of council kids, which could explain why the Doctor always gets kids from council estates to travel with him. They may be able to be more useful than a sonic screwdriver. So the car gets removed, and then the hub gets destroyed, thus reducing the whole group down to its 3 core members and just their wits. I say 3, they're sort of 3 and some extras, because you've got Andy the policeman, who I'm sure will turn up some more. You've got Gwen's husband, and of course Gwen's pregnancy is announced. So some of this has sci-fi elements, but mostly it's just kind of almost padding, but not quite. Well, as a first episode, it worked for me. I liked it. I like the government organisations. I like the use of the blank page. And as a swan song for Russell's writing, it's a great way to go out. According to Radio 4 last week, I think Russell's on his way to America now, to pastures new and to make new programmes. Well, good luck to him. It's a great way to go out. So until tomorrow, be seeing you.
My name's Lisa Bowerman. I play Bernie Summerfield, and you are listening to Tin Dog Podcast.